professional jewelry enthusiast, and here's what's getting me excited for next year. Hi everyone, I am Ritika, and today we're talking about jewelry trends that are getting me excited. Things I am sure are going to be big in 2026. We are talking the Celine 2026 show and all the jewelry elements we saw in that. We're talking Chanel under Matthew Blazy, specifically from a jewelry lens. We are also going to look at the quiet luxury brands, the Row and Lemaire, and what they've done in the runway shows, and what's coming back in a big way in vintage jewelry. Finally, we are going to discuss the Cartier Unlimited Love collection. Let's start with Cartier. So Cartier has released a new love collection. This is called the Unlimited Love collection. My first gut reaction was, yes, I like this. It looks super slinky, super flexible, and I can imagine it is a lot more comfortable to wear versus the regular love bracelets. I've heard from people that it is hard to sleep in them and they can feel uncomfortable. I personally have the Just Un Clue bracelet hidden here, and yeah, it is not the most comfortable. You do definitely get used to it, but the cool thing with this one is that it is easy to remove. And what I can see here is that the new Unlimited Love bracelets are going to be easy to take on and off. That's a plus. I also think that this design is really cool. It looks super interesting, and I like that slinky, flexible aspect of it. It comes in all the metals, your white gold, rose gold, and yellow gold. My question is it stretch or is it just movable, like on the hinges? I want to know that. Also, does it pull at arm hair? I think it's important for us to know that. So I'm definitely going to try it out when I get a chance to. Also, the rings are beautiful. They have the same kind of ridges. For 18 karat yellow gold, I think the rings, they come in one width and they cost around 3,800 Canadian dollars, which is 2,700 USD. So for the same amount of money, you could get something really statement like a Spinelli ring with, you know, those multiple rings. They're all kind of linked together. I love those, and I have been considering one. You could also, of course, buy an amazing vintage ring. But if you're somebody who loves Cartier, I do love Cartier, I have to admit, and you want this piece in your collection, I'd say this is kind of fun. And right now there's that novelty attached to it for it being so new. I'm not really sure if this is like going to be a part of their permanent collection or not. I love what I'm seeing. I think the Celine jewelry in this collection was in a league of its own. Extremely statement, super bold. It had such a presence. The jewelry had this vintage heirloom inspired quality to it, and you could see it through the pieces. There was a lot of mixed metals, lots of enamel work, color, horns. It had everything, and it had everything in the best way possible. It had charm bracelets. I've pulled out my old Tiffany bracelet just so that I can create a mixed metal moment here to take inspiration from that and just kind of bring all your old junk together and create yourself an arm stack. I actually really liked it. I think all the bold rings were very interesting. There was a lot of signet rings in the collection you could see walking down. Something that is really easy to take inspiration from, and I absolutely loved it. I love that more is more aesthetic, especially when it comes to chunky jewelry. If there's any indication from Celine, I think vintage jewelry is here to stay, and I think dainty pieces definitely have their place. Statement jewelry is definitely going to continue to have its moment. Speaking of vintage rings, if you caught the news of Taylor Swift getting engaged, I mean, who hasn't? You may have heard that her ring is an old mine-cut diamond, and old mine-cut diamonds are extremely special. They're very different from the radiant cut diamonds. They're cut in a certain way. The old mine cuts are light reflects really effectively through them, and I think they are gorgeous. I do have a few rings in my collection that have small old mine-cut diamonds in there, and I think they look stunning on wedding bands as well. You might be running out of those now that Taylor Swift is making it more mainstream. Gold is at an all-time high, so move wisely. Next year, we're still going to see a lot of color, lots of like these mermaid themes in jewelry, and I think Chanel really amplified that as well in their spring-summer collection. I'm in no way qualified to talk about this, by the way, but I love everything Matthew Blazy did at Vertigo, and I think his collection at Chanel looked incredible, very fresh, very young, so vibrant. We are seeing classic Chanel elements, but younger. We're seeing the pearls, we are seeing the tweed, but done in a spectacular new way. Pearls specifically are more baroque, more irregular shaped. There's a lot of coral influence. There is yarn, there's crochet elements, there's beads. I mean, It just was such a delight. There's a lot of inspiration there to find inexpensive things and make something really statement. I've already seen Etsy sellers selling these big flower brooches, so I think it's gonna be a fun time. Chanel had this beautiful celestial ethereal element throughout the show, and maybe we will see more glass jewelry as well. Speaking of glass jewelry, one of my favorite South Asian brands, Surmeyi, is doing these beautiful glass bangles that are infused with silver, and they are in the most stunning colors. I am gonna leave a link for them below. There's just so much to play with and I'm really excited. Now in the quiet luxury circles, things got a little odd, but in the best way possible. For instance, the Row runway images are kind of hard to see, but the one element that stood out was that there was no jewelry, or none that I saw. If you saw something, let me know. But one accessory that truly took over the show was combs. These beautiful wooden combs used in different strategic ways to keep these updos together. I'm not even going to pretend here. I am not going to try that, because while I'm growing my hair, I know how terrible I am at doing anything with them. So unless the combs come as a pendant that I can wear around my neck, I will not be styling my hair with them. But they're cool to look at. But speaking of comb-like pendants, Lemaire did some fork-like pendants. They did some paintbrush pendants. So they've had a lot of really quirky items as pendants, and I love that. I love seeing that influence as well. It feels very minimal. So I definitely see Scandinavian and modernist elements are here to stay, especially when it comes to these like statement jewelry pieces. I think we're also going to continue to see a Grecian, Middle Eastern influence when it comes to jewelry. Jujuvera was incredibly popular last year for her collars and her earrings, and I just want to take a moment to bring your attention here to my earring that I just bought off Etsy. It is a beautiful vintage Turkish earring. I've seen this New York-based brand Vertigo that is doing these huge amulets that are for $1,000 and they are silver. You can actually find very similar Turkish and Afghani amulets on Etsy, eBay, wherever you do your vintage shopping. I think they add something so interesting to your otherwise minimal modern outfit. I really like that kind of tension and the juxtaposition of something really modern with something that is more ornate. I'm just here to tell you that it is a great time to play with jewelry. I am excited to dip my toes into everything. I will not be discriminating between gold and silver and colors. I am gonna be all over the place. I will link anything I can for you, and I'll leave you with a few of my favorite vintage finds. Follow me on Instagram if you don't already. I post a ton of content there. If you like this video, consider subscribing. Hope you have a lovely rest of your day.